Good afternoon, and thank you all for joining today's webinar. I am Ritesh Chawla and I am representing UniApply. For all our viewers, UniApply is a pioneering platform for all your school admission needs. Right from shortlisting, comparing, applying to the school of your choice using one single application form. Being India's largest enrollment automation platform, we have transformed and digitized the entire process of school admission. Today, we are going to discuss and we are going to keep it focused on assisting all the parents and students who are stuck in the situation of selecting right stream and school. With a variety of subject and combination and education boards offered by the school, it gets really confused for the student to pick up one stream without knowing that what it entails. Thus, our topic for the session today is how do I choose the right stream and board after class 10? So today I have some esteemed panelists from renowned school of Maharashtra from Pune with us who will be sharing their valuable insight on what all should we consider while picking a stream as well as the advantages of choosing a particular education board. So without taking much time, I would like to uh, introduce our panelists today. So I have Miss Nadia Sheikh ma'am with us. Welcome Nadia ma'am.
Hello, sir. A very good afternoon to everyone.
Good afternoon, ma'am. So, audience, Nadia, ma'am, is with us today. She's the vice principal of Crescent High School and Junior College, Pune. Then we have Miss Amrapali Datta. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. Good afternoon
So,
once again.
good afternoon, ma'am. Amrapali, ma'am, is principal with the Lexicon International School, Pune. Then we have Miss Ishita Ghoshal, ma'am, with us. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
So, audience, Ishita, ma'am, is principal of Kothari International School, Pune. Right. So now, without taking much of time, we will now shift to our agenda for today, which is very, very important because, of course, the audience they look for uh, right kind of choice. Everyone is highly inspiring when it comes to career. Everyone is really concerned. So, how school help a student in terms of going for right career option by choosing a right stream, and what sort of subjects and stream are being offered in the school, and what could be the more option that we can help our audience to understand with the help of our eminent panelists today with us, right? So I will take my first question to Ishita ma'am. So ma'am, since you know this topic is really important for those who must be seeking admission in class 11th, and this is probably we are sitting on the right time, right? So ma'am, there are a lot of confused students, right, who have a strong liking or disliking for a subject. So how based on the liking and disliking of a subject of a class 10, can they go forward and select a stream in class 11?
Okay. So the question is very simple, but it requires a little background work to be done by the child and the parents together, right? So before any student appears to have shortlisted the subject, it is essential that they understand the subject, right?
Right, right,
So when I say understand, have they actually gone ahead and done a little reading, finding out and researching about professions and about domains in that subject, which they can take up for either higher studies or for employment or for any further scope of work in future, right?
right,
So once the child has done this, and this is not a thing that you do after your exam, this
right,
is an exercise which must begin the moment you hit high school. And
right,
is again the way we build a reading culture or the way we build a culture of studying. It's the same way you build a culture towards your future and you start exploring in that field, right? Be
right,
it professionals, be it attending sessions, be it finding out, reading about it. That's when you start understanding that where the scope lies, right? And
right,
not be always for things that I like. What actually happens is for a 15 or a 16-year-old child, it's very easy to put your finger and say, I like something, right?
right,
Now,
right,
actually assessing where my attributes, my attitude, my cultural bringing up, my likes, those are. And it's very essential that every child understands their own mental framework, physical framework. They understand what kind of lifestyle they would fit into, because there's a lot of variables they don't look into, and we just say we want to become so and so because the success factor or the employment factor or the
right,
future needs are better guaranteed, and then we say I like that, right? Our likes are very distorted.
right,
So our likes have to be based on personal decision making through a very definite timeline and process consistently. Adult,
right,
the family, and in the teaching of the child has to be the facilitator and the guide, right?
right,
Schools definitely now under NEP, all schools must have a career counseling cell, right? And
right,
otherwise also all adults and teachers must be in a position to support and share and give the child more inputs, which would help him build the information base to form likes and dislikes.
right, right. So by this, what I can learn, ma'am, that the process of selecting stream is not right after class 10, but it should start building right from some of the classes like class 8, 9, and it's a prolonged process. Then a process where we suddenly wake up and start deciding, okay, now it's a time when I have to make a choice between commerce, science, and humanities, or some of the other fields. So thank you for giving such valuable feedback. I would just like to, I like to have a comment from Nadia ma'am. Like ma'am, what Ishita ma'am said, that there has to be a prolonged process. I mean, inculcation of certain few research habits during the tenure of academics, where they can have more research, right? And rather than picking up and choosing a subject, it has to be supported by some sort of research where you can yourself drive, okay, I am fit for this, right? So do you think that most of the student, or in today's ecosystem, these norms are being followed up by the student? They are that much aware?
I totally agree with Miss Ishita, what she said. I would also like to add on here that students nowadays, they are not aware. They are unaware
Right,
about the fact that they need to start this session right from a very early age, that is from their 7th standard or 8th standard. See, I
right,
believe in trial and error. They might gain certain experiences where they might go wrong. So we as
right,
parents or teachers, we need to make them aware that they have to choose their profession as a passion, that whatever they will be doing, they are planning to do, it should start from early age. And that would rather give them a proper platform wherein they would like to choose their career as their profession, which is going to be soon very is going to enlighten their way in future. So Miss Ishita, whatever she said, I totally agree with her. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Uh, thank you, Nadia ma'am, for adding up on to this. Now, my second question is for Amripali ma'am. Ma'am, since you know that when we talk about society or our ecosystem of school, right, K-12, everything is like really boxed. When I remember my school days, we have been given a clear choice of, let's say, now you have to go either for sciences, humanities, or let's say commerce. So these are really boxed, and when I talk about box, I can't really shuffle. If I let's suppose if I like to go for sciences, and at the same time I really want to study business studies, right? So that can't be really choice. I'm sure there could be some logistical issues. The time we grow up, we understand that okay, school may have the logistical issues, and there are several other factors. but still we talk about the most favorable options by the student, where they would want to go for science but they don't want to study maths, right? So do you think if somebody would want to opt for sciences but don't want to combine with maths within it, right? So what would be the best possible option in that case, ma'am?
Well, first of all, a very good afternoon, all the eminent educators who have assembled here to build the future of the next generation, so that they can arrive at a concrete decision which is going to be eventually fruitful for them.
Right.
And yes, coming to your question, well, I believe, Mr. Chawla, that opting for which stream, whether it's humanities or science, or should it be commerce, or which profession a child wants to go forward to. Well, the innate potential that lies within us can be easily discovered right at the foundational years of learning, speaking in terms of national education policy, which was formulated in 2020.
Right.
Well, I believe as an educator, school should give that kind of exposure, that kind of platform to the students, so that it becomes easy for us to discover a child is strong from the cognitive aspect, or a child is stronger from the linguistic aspect, or which
Right.
domain of development the child is strong at. So if we give them multiple platforms wherein they would have an exposure to establish their skills, it becomes easier for them to understand. And as educators also, it becomes easier for us to discover which child is strong in which aspect. So that it's a very, very gradual procedure. And I believe it should happen right from the foundational years of learning. Now, coming to the next point, we all are aware of this. Nowadays, a lot of flexibility has been introduced in the curriculum, and it is no longer the 3 or 4 concrete departments, as in science or medical, non-medical, humanities, and commerce. And
Right.
there's a rationale behind, because we want to introduce an integrated curriculum. But when it comes to certain professions, that there are certain set of requirements for a particular profession.
Right.
So if I am strong, if a particular child is strong from the cognitive aspect, has a very logical bent of mind, like very observant, and can easily rationalize facts, instant decision maker, we would definitely derive this, that the child has got definitely a stronger cognitive domain. Now,
Right.
if a child wants to go opt for physics, chemistry, biology without opting for maths, or maybe wants to opt for commerce stream without opting for maths, so we have that kind of flexibility at this point of time in the curriculum framework. So I believe eventually it is going to give that flexibility to the child, and they can definitely go forward with it. But the dream career, which is there in their mind, whether it is actually going to help them or not, if they discard one particular subject, that also needs to be considered. And I believe as an educator, it remains our responsibility to give them an appropriate guidance if they want to drop a particular subject, whether it will eventually help them in the
Right.
professional platform or not.
Right. So very well said, ma'am. Like the school is offering the options, right? Schools are flexible these days, and they are focusing more on skills, right? But here a question comes, like even we have observed in the higher education, where if somebody is going for a particular, let's say, management program from IIM Indore, okay, which is available right after class 12. Maybe as an eligibility, maths they may not push you for, right? If you don't have maths, you are eligible to apply. But when we come to the to the structure of the exam, right? The aptitude
Exactly.
test which a student is going to write will have probably 60% of the portion which belongs to
Yes.
maths. So
Yes.
how that can be mitigated, and how one can be focused in such a way, okay, if I'm not opting for this, opting maths in the CBSE, but yes, I have to face this if I am aligning this with my career, with my higher education. So how a student can keep this in mind right from class 10th, like because there's a 2 year or 3 years of gap between his class 9th and the first year of graduation. So how do you think this gap can be bridged, ma'am?
Well, if you're asking me this question, well,
Yes, I'm asking.
yes, in that case, what I believe is to have a basic mathematical aptitude is a mandate if you go for certain professions. Let us talk a little concrete with the professional, like taking instances from the professional domain. For instance, if a candidate wants to opt for the profession of being a pilot, so
Right,
in India, it is not possible that without the combination of physics, chemistry, and maths, you cannot go ahead and pursue this. However, in abroad, there are different flexibilities, and that is
right,
permissible. However, here we need to understand the demand, which I stated a little while before also. We need to understand the demand of the profession.
right,
Right. So if a person strongly lags behind in mathematical aptitude, will the person be able to excel in terms of profession? So that needs to be actually communicated to the students also. If that can be compensated in some way, then it's fine. But otherwise, choosing for a particular stream and eventually going for a particular profession which needs a lot of mathematical aptitude and inputs, then the person lands up in trouble.
right, right. Absolutely right, and I certainly agree to what you say. And I will, in fact, raise a quick question to Nadia, ma'am. And I don't know how much do you agree as an educator to that. But Nadia, ma'am, do you see kind of retaliation, or people may ask for TC if you are not giving them their choice of stream? Okay, because school, of course, they will be really candid when it comes to student. They have no partial behavior. If student can really cope up with the sciences, they are happy to give science. But yes, basis on their academic record and their traits and skills, if school is not allotting them any of the stream, let's suppose a maths with commerce and giving just commerce with some IP or C++. So do you find such sort of cases? And if yes, if you find such cases, how do you deal with all such cases, ma'am?
Yeah, firstly, I would like to correct here that school never takes the decision of allotting. It's the marks scored by the child, which is very much mandatory for the child to take the admission in that particular stream. So never
Right.
put it on the school. Okay.
No,
Firstly.
my of course my agenda was that there is some certain base. Probably I would have phrased that question in such a manner,
Uh,
but yes, of course there is a base where school takes such call, right?
So for us, it is yes. We do such cases. We do have to sort it out in a very different way. Firstly, we need to explain the child that the marks or scored by the child is, for example, if the child has scored 90 and above or 80 and above, then only the child can be, or the child is fit to take admission for physics, chemistry, biology, and maths. That is the science stream. And if the
Right,
child is for lesser than that, then the child will be able to take accounts in other subjects. And it is not like that. Even 19 above students, they go for commerce. It is basically the child's interest,
right,
where the child fits in. So we can't just on the basis of the percentage or on the basis of all these repetition of the school, rather, I would like to stress on, we just cannot talk on those bases. It's child interest and it's child's passion for that particular subject. Unless and until the child does not have the passion or interest for that subject, we cannot force anybody. And yes, parents sometimes they go overboard, and they want to take LC or they would like to go for TC if they're not happy with the school's decision. But I think parents play an important role here. Along with the school, parents play an important role. First, the parents need to do a lot of research work. And
right,
unless and until the research work is not done, because child, of course, the child is below 16 or below 18, they are unable to take the decision. They're very indecisive to what career they need to choose. So your parents play an important role. They have to make sure, they have to go to that depth, that route, and they need to understand what the child is really interested. And then they
right,
can take the sorted decision. And
right,
school, of course, if any parent wants to go for TC, school will just counsel that particular parent. The school will try to counsel the child. And after all that, even if the parent is not satisfied, then we have only one choice: give the LC and just get rid of it.
Right. So one very important thing with Nadia ma'am mentioned that a parent has to actually go deep and research and know about the pros and cons and the interest of the kid and whether they will be able to do it or not. Right. That's very, very important. Now my question is for Rishita ma'am. Ma'am, there is some social stigma also that okay, my kid has not opted for science. He's will be evaluated little lesser than a humanities. Though the trends are really changing in past few years, we have seen right the toppers and the extreme with the high extreme numbers. Students are even going for humanities. But how much this trend has been changed from my time, and I'm talking about 2005, right? And now today. So it still exists or exists in how much quantity we would like to have some comment from you, Ishita ma'am.
So, Mr. Ritesh, the question is quite nice. There has been a change in the approach of the parents, where it's all right for a topper of 10th to go ahead with humanities or commerce, right?
Right,
But the percentage is still lesser. We still have majorly many parents under the influence of the engineer, doctor, and all those categories. That and most times stream students, even if you take science, there are several other fields which has better opportunities, better options as a career. But due to lack of awareness, I would say, I wouldn't say it is because of the stigma. It is because of the lack of awareness that many parents still, right from 9th or 10th or even in 11th, they start sending the children for different coachings and then drop years after 12th standard and then enter the rat race of clearing NEET or JEE. All right.
right, right,
But let's understand this is not always because of the stigmatization of other fields or humanities or anything. It is because of lack of awareness, and also they have together with the child not explored, right? They
right,
have somewhere made up a mind that this is going to fetch better results in the next 10 years span as a career for my child, right? So
right,
it's all about awareness and experience. It cannot be just reading through an article in a newspaper which talks about career, or attending a wayward career counseling session, or talking with some seniors or super seniors who've been placed somewhere. These things don't build your beliefs and your experiences. All
right,
right. You need to also understand and see the employment ratio of engineers today who are unemployed. You need to,
right,
a lot of students who have passed out from various categories. Our UGC categorizes colleges, right? NAC categorizes colleges and universities. Just getting the degree is not enough, right?
right,
Getting the professional qualification is not enough. The branding matters a lot, right? So
right,
if you go to certain universities, there is a cutoff which is very high for humanities, even if it's English honors, economics honors, psychology honors, where 98, 99% is the cutoff. And those people who choose that, they have the vision that I would be an economic analyst. Okay,
right,
and I would be functioning when I do my post graduation somewhere in Stanford or Harvard, or even if in India, they have a benchmark. Now, this is what I mean when I said in my previous answer that the journey begins right in the advent of high school.
right,
Okay, that's like class 6, 7, when the culture in the home, the culture in the school, and in the child's head is working towards which are the best universities, which are the best colleges. Much later comes, see, if we study for only a profession or a business or income, then we will become very shallow in our
right,
and our game, right? So we have to build it in our students as educators, as parents, as mentors for their career. It is essential that you first develop a passion for something. What,
Right, right,
Mrs. Datta said, what is innate in you? So what is innate in you and me cannot be like, okay, 20th May board exam gets over, let me discover innate. It has already begun 6 months
Yes.
back. And that
right,
innate will be what I choose to read, what I choose to play, where do I choose to visit, what kind of time do I invest in. That is
right,
how I discover my innate. Okay. When I know, like, you would be an engineer in your thinking. Do you mend everything around you? Do you break down and dismantle everything around you? If you do not have engineering attributes built in your characteristics, you
right, right,
never break down your maths, physics, chemistry in that prospect. And
right,
you will never look into that subject. You can never become an engineer with the hope that, which is why all engineers later do an MBA and land up in a MNC bank,
right,
right? So
right,
what is it? You were so focused about being an engineer, you end up being a teacher somewhere, you end up being a banker somewhere, or completely a different field, or some people drop and become an actor.
right,
So
right,
entire idea is choose where your passion lies. Please,
Yes.
let's not talk about career. Identify your passion.
Yes.
Okay.
right,
Open what is the passion? Then open up, speak up, talk to your parents. Now, parents, when Nadia ma'am said parents need to do a research, build a culture in your house where your child can talk to you about their passion without fear, without inhibition, without being judged, and without being prohibited,
right,
right? So if
right,
that happens, only then I can make a graph. Okay, fine, whether I'll take maths. Now with maths, which other field opening up for me? With if I
right,
take economics, which other field opening? If I am taking humanities, which are the combinations and why these combinations?
right.
Right? It doesn't mean just because I take humanities, every child who takes humanities, some person will come in and say, oh, are you sitting for the SSC and the UPSC?
Right, right,
Necessary. Why?
right. You are absolutely right. In fact, one key point to note here is that it is not just about the professional degree. We also need to look at the data where we are sending our kid, where he wants to go for, what is his passion. So I guess passion is really important. And my next question is going to be for Amrapali ma'am. In fact, ma'am, lot of students are these days they are talking about unconventional stuff. They may go for a content creation. We see entrepreneur in the age of as low as a 15-year or a 12-year kid, inventing something and presenting it to the and selling it to the state government. I don't recall at this point in time, but there was a model which was represented to the state
Yes.
of Gujarat, and that was adopted by. There was some drone technology which was adopted by state of Gujarat and the Gujarat government. So, how much parents are really convinced these days about unconventional career? Okay, still, if I'll talk about some invention, parents may be interested, but one odd day I'll wake up and I say, okay, I'll become an artist. I'll become a skill-based artist. Probably I'll become a nail artist or something like that. So, how's the response today in the society, and how school actually helps to shape that as a stream, or let's say as a career, or to link with a particular subject, right? So, what is the role of a school in that case, ma'am?
Yes, thank you for a very, very relevant question. I believe today, as a parent also, not only as an educator, I would remain forever thankful to the Central Board of Secondary Education because it really creates a platform for skill-based education. So while they are in the +2 level, as in 11th and 12th, a child gets to know what are the skill-based educations, what are the entrepreneurial skills that a child needs to develop. So automatically it leads to the opening of a number of professions. For
Right,
instance, animation. So this is one of the like very attractive subjects, I should say. Again, like web application, which gives like promotes a child's employability skills also. So
Right.
even as educators, we were completely ignorant about these things, which the board has come up with, and mandatorily like the students are opting for the skill-based subjects. So they are being enlightened with the numerous professional opportunities also. So I believe the mindset of the parents also are changing gradually, that as in we are in the process still of accepting these new professions that are coming up. In our
Right.
times, maybe we never ever heard of it also, but web design, animation, these are the new domains which are opening up and people are doing very good. So provided a child actually has a passion for it, once again, I will water it down to the word passion. Provided
Right.
you excel, provided you love doing it, then definitely we as a parent, we as an educator, give an appropriate grooming to our students so that the child may excel in that.
Right.
However, there are certain pros and cons of everything. As in,
Right.
always we cannot go by passion or what the child wishes to opt for, because at this critical juncture, they are in the process of fantasizing professions also. As in, being a parent, I'm experiencing the same, and so I got this platform to voice my areas of concern as well. So
Right.
children are in the process of fantasizing as well. So being adults, we should actually probe into what are the pros and cons, what it might involve, so that the child is given an appropriate counseling that this is not always that rosy, this particular profession. So we might as well look into it, try to understand, try to explore about the negative aspects as well, and then try to shape our dreams so that eventually you can be successful. Because we as professionals, we also look forward to job satisfaction.
Right. Right.
Job satisfaction can be optimally achieved provided that particular delivery is it fascinates me as a
Right.
teacher. I'm a teacher since the last 26 years, and perhaps I was a teacher since 5 years of my age. So like
Right.
as an adult, as an educator, my parents have recognized that. So these potentials, it is not only in the middle school level, but yes, we can give a concrete shape to that. But basically,
Right.
we need to create this kind of culture in the students as well to understand what is the requirement of a profession and then
Right.
go ahead pursuing the same.
So what we can learn is understanding children is like the key, where a
Absolutely.
parent and educator both has to go hand in hand. So my next question is for Nadia ma'am. Nadia ma'am, as you know that kids are really exposed to social media these days, and uh, like most of them are either they are following any of the influencer or they are themselves an influencer even from the school days. These days we know that there are so many personalities on YouTube or maybe social
Yes.
platforms like Instagram, and they have huge huge number of followers, and in fact lot of kids in their early age, as early as they are the kids of class 9th and 10th, they start following them, right? And they are not in a situation to draw a line between the career and what they are liking at that moment, right? So, ma'am, Nadia, ma'am, how do you handle such case, or do you find such cases where kids come and they are influenced, but they don't have a reality of that particular, willingness or liking that they would want to have in their subject? So, how do you deal, and do you also see such cases, ma'am?
Yes, it's a very nice question, Mr. Chawla. Firstly, I would like to say that we are unaware about the fact that there are only 25% of the professions which are known to the parents, to the educators. Okay,
Right.
we still need to research a lot, and there are still so many professions. As parent and teachers, we need to tell it to our students. Now, coming towards your question about the influencers these days, which are increasing day by day rampantly. Uh, yes, for initial stage, if you really have the passion for that particular thing, you can go. But what about the long run? So here we need to instill in the students that we need to show them their future, whether it's a bright future, or and how they are going to cope up with the same future after 15 to 20 years down the lane. So we
Right.
as and we do come across such things now. Since the online education has started, these 2 years students have been very much closer to their mobile phones and laptops. So when the
Right.
school started physically, when the school started offline, it was very difficult for us to cope up with such students, because they were not able to keep their phones aside. Every day they used to get phones to the school, and also in the school they were very much continuously, they were used to it, so it was getting very much difficult for us how to cope up with such things. So what we started with very strict rules in the school premises. We
Right.
called the parents, we took few counseling sessions with the students. We also called up to the students, those who are going through such situations. And I think there's only one, right now, one profession which is open, that such students really need therapy, or therapy in a very good sense, rather. They need
Right.
a lot of counseling with regards to mobile addiction, because this is something which is not going to be there for a long run. Initially
Right.
it was good, initially students they love it, but making it as a profession, I think it is not good for the child's future.
Right. So one thing which I can take out from your conversation is one need to have a reality check, of course, and how long that career is going to survive to give you food for your the entire professional journey. Thank you, Nadia ma'am, for adding this on. And now my question is for Ishita ma'am. Ishita ma'am, now we'll move towards more towards some sort of academics. We have discussed some unconventional careers, and we spoke loudly on the parents do not accepting some of the careers, and it is now the phase where we are learning as an educator, or let's say as a parent, we are learning those careers which probably kids want to pursue. Ma'am, but there are set of audience now these days, they are really keen to go abroad and study. So somebody who wants to seek higher education abroad, is it beneficial for them to opt for the Ivy board after class 10th, or what is your thought about it, ma'am?
Okay, it's not about my thought about, it's about the curricular structure of both
Right.
IGCSE A level and the IB BYP that you have. So IB has a more mastery over a subject. So if the student has already decided that I would only take major credits, or I would major in physics per se, or English, or any subject, right? He would achieve a mastery over the subject if he goes for IB. Why? Because it is the skill sets which get uh, higher proficiency in IB. Okay.
Right.
As far as IGCSE is concerned, you get credits and it's equally good, but there it is more content based, right? It is not so much with the skills that gets, like, refined, and then you can identify the proficiency level for that subject, right? So IB is definitely, but it's going to be more difficult also to earn the same credits. Hmm? So IB is more recommended if the child has chosen the field and the subject.
Right. Ma'am, one of our user has a question, so that goes for Amrapali ma'am. Uh, Ma'am, parents say that even studying abroad, uh, and I'll generalize this question, right? Because that's very specific, and the generalizing question will help large set of audience. So the universities abroad are also as rigid as the Indian ecosystem, Indian higher education system, where like here you won't find any liberal prospect where if you want to study medicine, if you have and you have humanities in class 12, so that is not going to help you. So somebody who has done humanities and would want to pursue medicine from abroad. So what are the ways like?
Well, what I believe is, as per I'm aware of the Indian scenario, it is pretty rigid because there's a rationale behind as well. It's not a question of being rigid or liberal. The point is, you need to have a basic concept of a particular stream. why we decline a non-medical student to opt for medicine in the graduation level is because the child or the student will lack the basic concept. As in, the basic platform is not sufficient enough to go pursue the higher education. So that is the reason it is not advisable. But however, the foreign education system comparatively is based on the professional aspects, and so it like proudly gives that opportunity to a student based on the potential of the student,
Right.
rather than initially declining the candidature. So yes, that is a comparatively a little more flexible in comparison to the Indian education system. But the rationale is definitely convincing, as in you need to have a basic concept if you wish to pursue higher education on that particular domain. This is
Right.
my
So
perception.
right. So that is in fact going to help in any country if they have basics of that subjects. Right.
Absolutely.
So my next question is for Nadia ma'am. And Nadia ma'am, you see there's a huge numbers when we talk about civil aspirant in India, right? And civil services is largely accepted and known by the parents also. And if some of the student and they think that they would want to pursue civil services in their career, though it's a matter of a career choice which is there post their graduation, but somebody would want to align this their career stream, okay, the stream in class 11th and 12th. What is your advice? Like they should take humanities, commerce, or sciences? What do you think will be opt?
Okay. See, a student which is moving to class 11th or joining any graduate course who has decided to undertake such civil service examinations, invariably they face a dilemma regarding which stream to choose, or rather where to go, whether it's science, commerce, humanities, which would prove to be most helpful in giving such civil service exams. So this
Right,
dilemma is even more complex for those students who have been a science or commerce student till class 12, but they now want to shift to humanities, because I guess humanities is a stream wherein a child can pursue its education if the child wants to go for civil service examination, because this particular syllabus of CSC is considered to be heavily biased towards humanities subjects. So, although if it is given that it is not the stream, but the approach of the candidate towards exam, which increases the probability of success, but there is no
right,
denying the fact that these subjects, which are recurrent themes, they go across stages of the CSC. So, I guess humanities should be taken as the subject wherein the child can go for civil services examinations, and I guess it is very less in Maharashtra state, but I think we as educators, we can force our students, or rather give them a brighter picture to what is the exact situation or exact career behind it, because I guess humanities and civil service examinations are more in vogue in North India rather than
right.
in Maharashtra state.
Right, right. So I would want Ishita ma'am to add on to what Nadia ma'am says, ma'am. You know that civil services is one of the prominent service in India, and of course it's quite popular, and everyone would want to, those who are aspirant would definitely would want to get into civil services, right? IAS is such a charming three-letter word which people like, and of course. It's a matter where they have to appear right after their graduation. But how these 5 years can be fruitful with the subject aligning, if I speak particularly, and which can really help student also with respect to their 5 years of journey, which can help further for their civil services examination, or let's say civil services as a career.
See, whatever subject you have chosen, right? You also have to be very clear. Your subject knowledge has to be thorough, right?
Right,
General paper of the CSE has more content from history, law, and all these areas, which is why people say humanities will give you an edge. But nevertheless, when you have your subject papers, which eventually you have to appear, and of course, even when you face your GDs and your interviews, your subject knowledge has to be in place. Be it
right,
any exams or be it any professional higher education, right from the beginning, if your subject knowledge is not in place and you are just studying and practicing to click something, this will eventually be leading you to difficult spots. Let's be
Right.
clear. Always, that's the reason, when you go to a coaching, you need to understand your groundwork has to be there. Coaching is just going to be like, flourishing. It's like shining the diamond. But if
Right.
you are not the diamond, the sparkle will not come.
Right.
So you have to first become that important thing with all the content awareness. And that is not at the board years. This is right from the fundamentals. Okay.
Right.
That's why if your fundamentals are not clear, in future, even if you click, we see in the engineering sector, in the medical sector, even in law, there are children who fail in their second year, third year, fourth year. They go
Right.
to a job and come back to clear their back papers.
Right.
Why
Right.
does that happen? Because it was easy for them to clear that exam. Something
Right.
still missing, which they could not clear during the course of education. Right? So
Right.
we have to understand certain things from a deeper perspective and stop having a superficial point of view. That's very, very important. Now, when you're going for an UPSC exam, and as Nadia ma'am was saying, people in Maharashtra don't go, even for the state level exams, your fundamentals on all your subjects have to be clear. You can't just go by guides and prescriptive things that this will be advantageous, that will be advantageous. No. All
Right.
subject, even if you've done engineering, law, any subject choice that you have, you are fit to appear for it. Like you
Right.
can, with the example of the integrated course given by IIM Indore, for which they conduct a undergraduate level entrance,
Right.
right? And if a child has made up their mind, and if they don't have, let's say, critical subjects like business studies or economics or maths, okay, you don't have any business sense at all, and you're spending 5 years in that, I'm sure you would have hiccups in your journey.
Right. Right.
Okay, so you need to have a thorough understanding of the subject and study it, then everything would be falling in place. So although it is a general trend, yes, humanities will give you an edge in UPSC exams, civil services exams, Indian Forest Service exam, Indian Economic Service exams. These are all part of UPS. Okay.
Right.
Again, awareness is not there. Okay.
Right.
But at the end of it, your subject knowledge for all the subjects have to be thorough.
Right. Ma'am, one from the audience called Ankit Jain is saying thanks to you for clearing the point. And here I would want to raise another question to you only, and I just want a short comment, probably for a minute or two. Like too many are chasing too few seats, right? That's what we see in medical, JE, and civil services for that matter. So how one should be better prepare, or one should have a fallback option when it comes to career. So what is your piece of advice?
Go
A
for
very quick feedback.
places where the queue is less and the seats are more.
Okay, perfect. So one liner answer and very crisp and
And thank you.
precise.
And I'm glad that it helped you.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Ishita ma'am. My last question that is for Amrapali ma'am. Ma'am, a very generic question again from the audience. Humanities is the most scoring subject. That's why aspirants are more lean towards humanities after class 11th and 12th, or like after commerce and science. So is it so?
Well, I beg to differ. It is not only a matter of scoring, because if scores would have been the ultimate decision maker, then in that case, I'm sorry to say that the choice, a person would have to regret the choice. Because scores should not be the ultimate decision maker. It is once again the potential which needs to be the decision maker. Because nowadays, scores can be just random. It might not actually detect your skills. So students tend to be misguided that, yes, I've scored so high, 90 plus, which means I have the capability. So I don't think score should be the actual determining factor for a choice of a particular stream, because humanities definitely needs more linguistic flamboyance in
Right.
comparison to the other two streams. So if a person does not have that, I'm not saying that the person cannot cultivate the same, but once again, it lies within yourself. Certain
Right.
things which are within, those skills can be cultivated. But
Right.
certain skills which are not there in a particular like a student, uh, as in the person doesn't enjoy doing the same. I'm just giving you my example. I always hated calculus. However, my mother is a mathematician. I'm just giving real-time examples, because I have experienced the same contradiction in my own family. So scores cannot be the determining factor for the
Right.
choice of a particular stream. The passion for a particular subject, mastery for a particular subject, that will eventually contribute towards not only excelling in the educational domain, but also in the professional domain.
So, thank you, ma'am, for putting this across. But I have another connected question to this only, and I would just want our audience to be to have a more clear picture. Like, is it still a matter of let's say the race of score, a rat race for highest score, and how much that is going to be relevant when it comes to career? So, of course, when we talk about college seats and merit, it is going to definitely help, right? But can you like probably give a differentiating factor, and any of you can volunteer for this question, like highest mark or the rat race for marks, how much is it important for a career or a merit based seat in a college? So uh, it's an open platform, whosoever would want to answer this question.
So if you look at the current situation, I'm sorry, I just butted in. So if you look at the current situation, we all have to now take a university level examination, which will be
Right.
governed, right? So the present batches passing out 12 would so the idea of earlier using your board scores, which as very rightly all of us know, it doesn't determine the proficiency
Absolutely.
or the skill of a child for that subject. It is more knowledge based. Let's all admit it. It is
Absolutely.
not going to define your proficiency, nor will it define your love or a passion for that subject or your in-depth knowledge. Therefore, if you are appearing to join ISRO, or you're appearing to sit for places like ICER, or you're sitting for Manipal, let's go for these entrances where they would do their own set of evaluation. Okay.
Right.
After your professional journey later in life, where the scores come in, it is irrelevant then. People do not look at your 10th and 12th CGPAs in CBSE or in any other board, the percentages. They don't go for it. Okay. These
Right.
are like steps in a ladder.
Right.
Why the scores are important, let's also understand. Let's not dilute the examination system also, because
Right.
scores to larger extent would ensure that you are thorough with your subject knowledge. That's
Right.
essential. Without theoretical knowledge, practicals cannot be built.
Right.
Absolutely.
You cannot
Absolutely.
become a creator or a scientist or an engineer if your basic knowledge in the schooling process theoretically is not in place. I guess which is why Indians export so much of brains outside, right?
Right.
Theory has to be in place. And when school teachers, school principals, and everybody harp on the percentage that how many A plus and how many would be getting above 90s and not, we want to ensure that your knowledge is in place, that
Right.
understanding is not in place, then you will never be able to apply it in the higher studies anywhere.
Right. So I guess what I can learn from you, ma'am, that equilibrium is important when it comes to scoring and when it comes to a practical knowledge and a theoretical knowledge. So one has to balance between the both. And thank you each one of you for sparing the time and enlightening our audience today on such important topic. And in fact, beyond stream selection, we also discuss a huge amount of career discussion, which can probably help our audience to streamline their thought process even for the graduation, not only for just the stream selection. So thank you each one of you for sparing time. And now I would just want to give a small message to our audience that audience, you can even see this webinar on Facebook. This was live on the Facebook official page of UniApply on Facebook, and you can even see the recorded version of it on the Facebook itself. You can also go on various social media handles like uh, LinkedIn. You can go on Facebook and Instagram. You can follow UniApply and you can stay tuned. Just for the audience who joined late, UniApply is a platform where you can really discover schools. You can shortlist schools and you can even apply schools from there only. And UniApply will the platform will help you to choose a right school for you. And with this note, I would like to thank each one of my panelists for sparing their time and enlightening our audience. And we wish you good luck for the this session, academic session. Hope your school really do well and wish you good health. Thank you so much, and thank you so much, all the audience.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Lovely
Thank you.
interacting with you.
I think
Same
there's
here.
still a question waiting to be answered, and the person is imploring, please address my question.
Yes, so ma'am, my team at the back end will take care of that question since we have to close it within the time limit. So we are abiding by that time limit. But I would want, since Ishita ma'am has alarmed that one question, or in fact, couple of questions are lying there in the Q&A section. So just to tell you, audience, each of your question will be answered by our expert and the team at the back end. So stay tuned and rest assured, no question will be missed. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was good meeting you, Ms. Amritpali,
Thank
Datta,
you.
and Ms.
Same
Ishita
here.
Ghoshal. Thank you so much.
Same here. God bless.
Thank you.